It is slightly above 2 weeks to the end of this year. That is 2022. Because today is, it is 13th of December 2022, just a day after the celebration of Jamhuri Day. Hopefully you did scan the QR code yesterday and you already been admitted into the Arizona State University. So for all those who've been newly admitted, congratulations. Let the 16-week course begin. My name is Simba, Elijah Charles Kiage, and from a wet capital of Nairobi, actually of Kenya, keep on getting this wrong, of Kenya, Nairobi City, it is a good morning, a good time for us to keep this ball rolling right here on the Morning Drift. And since it is a Tuesday, I am not alone. Nelima is right here with me. Nelima, good morning.
Good morning, Simba. Nancy Nelima here, and you are just on time for the Morning Drift. The time is exactly 9 a.m. East African time, and we are here to bring you up to speed with stories that are making headlines, of course, in our newsrooms, as well as on our local dailies, and what's happening across all our social media platforms. And you can engage with us. The hashtag is the Morning Drift at Lookuptv on Twitter, Lookuptv on Facebook, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. Simba, let's talk about Nairobi Festival.
Yeah.
Uhuru Park is a whole transformation.
But who transformed it? Which is up from there, isn't it? Right. I hear nobody give credit to whoever was behind the transformation of Nairobi, of Uhuru Park. Nothing like that. The only thing that I'm saying, Nelima, is yes, it's on. So welcome, we've done it. So we've been doing this and this. But we do know when the transformation for Uhuru Park started, isn't it?
Right.
Under the stewardship of the former NMS boss, under the guidance of former retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. Would have you loved it for them to say, you see, they did good. For us now is to continue whatever it is that they did.
Right. I think we have seen the Nairobi Governor, Johnson Sakaja.
Yeah.
Just, of course, he has looked at the work that the NMS had done. He has appreciated the work and will build from whatever has been. And one thing, Simba, that has come out of the Nairobi Festival, of course, which started yesterday on 12th, all the way through to the end of the week on 17th of this month. And one of the things that the governor has done is to involve artists, because it's a very creative space. Yeah. There's a plane right there, there's graffiti on buses. Yeah. There's a lot of space for creative minds to be put to work. And so that is one of the things that he's already getting props for. Like, he is set to put arts on the scene, which will hence put the artists, some money in the bank.
I'm telling you that. I mean, a lot that is going on. But if you look at the way it looks, Nelima, it's beautiful, I will tell you. That facility right here within the city center. When you look at it, you're wondering, the population that is within the city, that's where the degradation begins. Because then when you're coming up with that beautiful park, you got to figure how many people at a particular time are you supposed to allow in then to go into the park. Is that something that we gotta figure?
Right. I want to believe that it has been factored in as well. Yeah. Because Nairobi has over 1 million people just transacting businesses and walking around in the city in just a single day. And as well, Nairobi stands out among cities in Africa. Yeah. It has a park right within the center. Yes.
The city center. Let's not even talk about the national park as well. Now, I gotta ask you though, are you a new student of the Arizona State University?
I would say not yet.
That was a chance missed right there, Nelima. But I think it's still open, isn't it? You can still register. Yes. Isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. There's a QR code that was released yesterday for all the attendees of the the Nyayo Stadium celebrations. And once you scan it, you're supposed to get a proper admission into that particular university. But a lot of details we're going to follow and talk about that, Nelima, on the trends this morning. But right. For now, we take a tiny breather. Once we come back, then let's look at exactly what is trending online in as much as your dailies are concerned. Good morning. Welcome back. We are on the Morning Drift. Remember, you can be part and parcel of this Lookuptv across all the social media platforms. The hashtag is the Morning Drift. Let's then look at exactly what is trending online. Nelima, I do have the Daily Nation. What is the Standard talking about this morning?
Right, and on the front cover of the Standard, hits and misses of Ruto's 90 days. Of course, a lot about the 59th Jamhuri Day celebrations that took place yesterday. And of course, coming at a time when the president is just hitting his 100 days in office. So there was a lot to look forward to. And as well, the promises that the president made yesterday, he used the platform largely to talk about the achievements, his scorecard in just the last few months since he assumed office in August. And as well, one of the things that are making headlines is the building of a 100,000-kilometer digital superhighway to allow internet access in homes, cities, towns, and every part of Kenya. And the President, Simba, spoke largely about tech. So the president was very big on technology, which is the future of the world, basically. There's a lot about transfer 85% of the remaining government services to the digital space in the next six months. So again, digitizing a lot of government operations just to make it more accessible, speed up all the transactions, and as well, deliver 1 million tech jobs. So the president, what we could see, these are the promises that he made on Jamhuri Day, which was yesterday, a lot about just digitizing and embracing technology in all government operations, as well, of course, as creating jobs, which is where the world is going. And actualize the dream of home ownership. This is of course, the president has been going around the housing project being one of his campaign promises, and he's gone around. Of course, it started during President Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure, and President William Ruto has capitalized so much on the housing project, and of course, building very many units across the country. And he says that now, between 2,500 and 10,000 shillings, so houses are going to cost that cheaply for a monthly rent as well. And there's a lot about industrialization. So making industrial estates to provide coaching and mentorship to 100,000 entrepreneurs. So the president, technology, agriculture, top among his promises on the 59th Jamhuri Day. And there was also the people in Pemba people who are in Kilifi that have not been given identity cards, so they'll be conferred as a part of Kenyans. They'll be Kenyan citizens. And as well, Simba, that is on the front page, but the story comes to you in details all the way from page 2 to page 8 of the Standard. But before we get into flipping over, there is a photo of CNN hero, Cheboy, who was fitted now for taking technology to villages. And remember, this is a time when even the president is really championing for the embracing of technology in the different government institutions. And so Cheboy, a very young woman who's still in her 20s, and she has managed to change lives using technology and teaching young children computer as well. And so for that reason, she will be taking home, or she hasn't already, 80 million shillings as awards and grants for the same. She was also named as top 30 under 30 by Forbes this year in April, Simba. So this is obviously a woman to watch. Perhaps we'll be having her right here pretty soon.
I mean, congratulations. And when we have a Kenyan then being fitted for that particular award, it actually puts Kenya on the spotlight, isn't it? But you see, Nelima, it's just right there. I gotta ask you that question though. Even your job, you should ask yourself at the end of the day, how is it beneficial? I've always asked myself that question. I mean, one of these fine days I'll take that. How is it beneficial?
Right.
Yeah. How are you gonna better the lives of your neighbors, of your friends, of your family, the social problems within the society? As one Barack Obama, the former US president, said, you can only have as much. At one point, you got to think about, how do I help? What is the problem? Can't just be about you, isn't it?
Right. And the impact at the end of the day,
That's
whatever
it.
you do, how does
That's
it
it.
impact the
That's it.
community? Because
Yeah.
giving back to the community that made you, just improving lives, changing lives. And I believe that's our purpose too.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Like that's gonna be the purpose for every human being, isn't it? Your neighbors are gotta be your society, your social problems, the things that we complain about. How about you say, instead of complaining about this, I'm gonna be the solution.
Right.
Yeah. See, it pays, isn't it? We James this morning saying that we should look for a number, because all of a sudden now she looks like
Right now, she's the newest millionaire in town.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And well
What a
deserved.
time.
And Simba, just to jump back in on Jamhuri, there are 460 people who were awarded for their service to the nation.
Yeah.
And a very interesting list, which has come under fire by some people.
Yeah.
And of course, just eliciting different reactions. And of course, the governors who were fated, disciplined forces, and as well as, so there is even Wafula Chebukati, who is the IBC chairman, who is, you'd say, outgoing, because when his term comes to an end come January, and he was given an award as well, awarded for the Order of the Golden Heart, alongside select governors. So a very interesting list right there. Gladys Sholei, Stephen Sang, it's a list of that. That comes to you on page 5 of the Daily Nation. So a lot just about the Jamhuri Day celebrations, and the president just speaking largely about innovation. Simba, what's happening in your
It's going to be about that. Not so much, really. There's not so much of a difference on the Daily Nation. But then on top of that, you will see, other than Ruto's plan to lower food prices, that was part of his promises. And he did say that in 90 days, he's already delivered on 5 of those. You're going to read into that story. Then you've got to go into pages 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the Daily Nation. But then if you could have that flash front page on our screens this morning, so we can actually get to read one of the interesting headlines that we have here. On a page 10 of the Daily Nation, you could see Ida Odinga, who is the wife to the former to the Azimio leader, Raila Amolo Odinga. He's got a lot of titles for you to pick which one you want to go with. Now, those who died in our home have betrayed us. That's a story that is covered by the Daily Nation on page 10. Look at that, you know? It's interesting. There's an expose that was written also by the Nation Media group, where it spoke to top officials in the country in the Azimio coalition. And now, within that particular party, as the Daily Nation states here, that things are not rosy in Mr. Raila Odinga's coalition, where allies are locked in a blame game over the outcome of the August election. You see that? So we're reading that story on page 10 on today's Daily. Other than that, there's pictures of exactly how different counties celebrated Jamhuri Day. It's actually Jamhuri Day. And how majority of Kenyans braved the rain yesterday to sit in these national gatherings and be part of that particular historic day. All right, now let's move into the back page of the Daily Nation, where we do expect that KCPE results are to be released next week, which begs the question, you know, Nelima, there was a time that we used to wait for months before we see these results, yeah? Until Matiang'i came in and changed it.
Right.
Now you sit on it a couple of days later before Christmas.
Times are different. People used to...
Yeah.
But I believe perhaps it's better, because there used to be a lot of tension, so you don't even get to eat all for the festivities.
Yeah.
But now, in just the marking was fast-paced, and of course the government just channeling all resources to make sure that then this process, and then also to minimize any forms of, cheating. Yeah. When the exams are out much longer, then even the process of marking could be faulted. And so just to minimize all those risks, then the process was shortened to just about 2 weeks or a week, It is a short time.
By the way, at this time again, just before we then take that breather and come back with whatever is trending online, at this time when Kupet is protesting over cases in marking calendar. Just to shorten that period now, a majority of the teachers who are going to be marking those cases, C papers, are going to be working over the festive period. That's us from 25th, 26th, all the way for once, which is exactly what they're protesting here. Just to shorten that period, they're saying, why do we have to work over the festive period? Are we going to get a break? Also read that story on the back page of the Daily Nation. That's it. We take a short break. Once we come back, what is trending online?
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team
hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about to pressure the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii hapa kazi tu.
Good to have you.
We bring you stories of people who, despite pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
New testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
Already seen all of it from here, thanks to my wonderful long neck.
Welcome back. Let's now see exactly what is trending online at this hour. And remember, you can be in touch at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba on Twitter. Nelima, where you at?
And I am at Nancy Nelima on Twitter. And of course, the hashtag is the morning drift. Right about now, Simba, what's trending?
Yeah, let's open our tweet center this morning then and see exactly what it is that Kenyans are talking about. And I will start with this one. This is a story. But we know where this is coming from. But then it was again reiterated by the Star Kenya this morning when now this is Babu Wino. I told Kibicho to arrest Chebukati. He refused. This is the blame game and Nelima that we've seen within the Azimio coalition leaders who are talking about how Raila Amolo Odinga lost the election. And if you remember, Nelima, it was just a difference of 200,000 votes. And now that's why there's still parts of the Azimio leadership who feel that something did not run the way it was supposed to run, and some people failed. So this is Babu Wino saying that he called Kibicho and told, Webwala, you arrest Chebukati. This man was supposed to be on our side. He's bundling the election. Then Kibicho comes and says, Webwala, wachana na vita. If you listen to that soundbite, it's quite an interesting one. Your thoughts, Nelima?
Right, I know it is not unusual, though history has it, that coalitions in Kenya rarely make it to the next election. And so, of course, when people now go back to revise and just, look at how the election process went, their hits and their misses.
Yeah.
And of course, we also saw Winnie Odinga say that they ran a successful campaign, though now the election is a whole other part. So perhaps some people failed on their part or not, but there has to be a winner and a loser. But most importantly then, coalitions, Azimio is a big umbrella with so many parties, all the way from ODM to Jubilee, DAP Kenya, and many other smaller parties, Wiper Party, and many other smaller parties within that brigade as well. And so conflict then goes without saying.
I'll tell you that, isn't it? I mean, when you look at it, even if you look at the blame game that's going on, Junet Mohammed is now at the center stage. But then, if you go back, he was fully at the front as a front campaigner for Raila Amolo Odinga. So when you look at these blame games that are going around now, you wonder why, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Do you believe? Because Raila Amolo Odinga, by the way, we're gonna look at his tweet next. He said that we're gonna tell you exactly how we lost that election. Somebody's here. This is according to Samuel Wanjiru, who's saying, is that not an admission of treason? Soche Bukati and the other two commissioners plus the CEO stood for the truth. And mind you, Raila is calling people to the streets, promising them he'll reveal how his win was stolen. Is this not funny? That's according to Samuel Wanjiru. Does it make sense? Because then if Babu Wino is saying, well, we asked Kibicho to arrest Chebukati, did not, and that's why we lost. So who's telling the truth here?
Right, Simba.
Yeah.
And you see, we are looking into President William Ruto's 100 days in office.
Yeah.
So elections were in August 9th. And like some critics are saying, then it is quite exhausting and tiring to still talk about why the Azimio brigade then lost the election when it was so close, when they had the former president on their side.
Yeah.
But of course, that is a growing conversation.
Yeah.
If then they have details, evidence that suggests otherwise,
And they should
than what
table it,
was
isn't it?
perhaps presented in court,
Yeah.
then that is going to be a big story in the making, Simba.
I will tell you that. Just before we move on to the next tweet this morning, I'll tell you, this is what he said. I told him the way things are moving, we need to act very fast. Do you know what Kibicho told me? Babu, wacha vita. This man was supposed to be our person, but what is happening? Nikamwambia, no, it's you to arrest Chebukati or we go for a rerun. I mean, when you do have this, I will tell you, that's why we do have a democratic process in the country, and that's why we say let's follow law. And then we go to the courts. If you feel that there's something that should not be part of this, then you can appeal as well. But we follow that due process up to where we are right now. Anyway, let's look at the next one this morning, in as much as what Kenyans are talking about online. And this one is coming from Raila Amolo Odinga, Nelima. This is what he's saying. During BBI, Mr. Ruto demanded that a president cannot initiate constitutional amendments. The amendments must start with the people, that the process of amendment be people-driven, that amendments must chiefly center on the interest of the common man. Now, Raila Amolo Odinga feels that President William Ruto is actually changing the constitution or amending the constitution without essentially going through this particular process. In fact, he's even saying that some of the suggestions that you have right there were within the confines of BBI, which was a people-driven agenda. Does he have a point there, Nelima?
Right, Simba. And of course, there have been a lot of similarities with some of the BBI provisions that President William Ruto has perhaps implemented in his government. The creation of positions like Prime Cabinet Secretary, for instance, these were some of the outlined provisions under the Building Bridges initiative. And so there are a lot of, you'd say, positions or that President William Ruto has borrowed from the BBI that look like those provisions that were in the Building Bridges initiative. And of course, this was a bill that was for the people, and it was being championed by Azimio leader Raila Odinga, as well as the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. but we went in court and it was nullified. And because it was not supposed to be run by a president, and of course those details that were given in court. And as well, so if for the constitution to be amended, then there's a due process that has to be followed. Public participation, which was said to have lacked in the Building Bridges initiative. So there is a process. And so if then the president goes ahead to create positions and make a few changes in the constitution, then it has to follow due process. So I believe that is what Azimio leader Raila Odinga is referencing to.
Anyway, let's take one response here. Is a thing, this is according to Hezbollah, who's saying Raila has left you people speechless. You had hoped it will support, so that you have an easy time saying is after handshake and share of government. Now, call him names for not supporting BBI to create positions for individuals, which is exactly what it is that you're saying, that it's pretty much similar to whatever Ruto is doing. And then Raila is saying, why are you doing it by yourself without essentially then following the constitution? It is quite a back and forth between those two. But when you look at exactly what is also going on in the government, we did see exactly how Ruto responded to the opposition during a speech at Jamhuri, saying, keep off. I mean, it's not time for politics anymore. It's a time to build the nation.
Right. And Simba, before we take that break, then this has been an interesting election year. And of course, even for the Azimio brigade led by Raila Odinga, saying that they have evidence. You know, this was an election like no other.
Yeah.
On the day that the IBC chairman, Wafula Chebukati, was then announcing the results, then there was the IBC commissioners who had defected, and just saying that at the last minute, that last minute boardroom eruption. Then it was a very interesting election year, and of course now all these conversations do matter, and that is something that we are following closely. When that evidence is tabled, we'll be the first people to break it to our viewers. But for now, we do have to take a very short break. We'll be back with what's happening in the newsroom, all the stories that are making headlines.
Ndio. Umepata wapi madoza kujenga nyumba smart car hizi? Pesa isikushtue. Nimetumia hii mashini kutoka Makiga Engineering. Ni bei nafuu, inatengeneza blocks 500 kwa siku. Angalia hii nyumba, imenikatia cost ya ujenzi by 50%. 50%? Ndio, 50%. Isitoshe, iko very strong na inadumu. Hata mimi nataka kujenga nyumba kama hii. Nunua hii mashini kutoka Makiga Engineering Company.
Makiga Engineering Services Limited. Siri ya ujenzi, siri ni Makiga.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Usienda nayo huko ndani, unaacha hapo kwa luggage ndio uingie.
Ni wacho kwa luggage namna gani nataka kutumia huko ndani? Nimekuja na hii gani ndio inatumika? Hii paketi ama hii kuchota? Kwani serious hii? Bwana wacheni mchezo bwana. Nini?
Karibu customer. Hizi bidhaa unaziacha pale kwenye luggage ndipo sasa ufanye shopping kwa supermarket yetu. Kuchota ni kufanya shopping pekee.
Ni kufanya shopping.
Raundi hii chota mapema na Hetia Supermarket ndio best. Kwa mara nyingine tena Hetia Supermarket inakuletea chota na Hetia Supermarket. Kushiriki shindano la chota ni rahisi. Ingia tu Hetia Supermarket iliyo karibu nawe Kitale, Bungoma, Eldoret, Kakamega, Kisumu, Busia, Naivasha, Limuru, Nairobi, Thika, Nyeri, Meru, Chuka na Maua. Nunua bidhaa ya shilingi 600 na zaidi na utapewa raffle ticket. Jaza vizuri na utumbukize kwa sanduku iliyo mlangoni. Utakuwa umeingia kwa draw ya kujishindia zawadi kama gari 7 aina Daihatsu Mira, pikipiki 21 aina ya TVS, 1130 school fees, TVS, microwaves, shopping vouchers na vingine vingi.
Basi, ni huku. Saidia bibi.
Chota kuchota imethaminiwa na Iwe Bacon, Savannah Juice Fruit Vial, My Choice Hand Wash, Zesta Choco Primo, Ketepa, Blue Band, Aramcom, Oven Fresh Bread, Nivea, Silent Night Mattresses, Coca-Cola pamoja na Hisense. Shindano hili limeidhinishwa na BCLB permit number 002816. Sheria na masharti kutumika.
Chota kuchota na Hetia Supermarket, na hii motokaa kari smart kabisa inaweza kuwa yako. Unangoja nini? Ingia, fanya shopping yako Hetia Supermarket, uchoto kuchote na hii kari. Hii motokaa inaweza kuwa yako. Mtu anaweza pesa kwa buti.
Hetia Supermarket, a world of choice.
Hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about kufurahisha the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni hapa kazi tu.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people who, despite the pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
New testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
Ni wakati wa mkutano. Jioni kwenye kamati ya kijiji.
Hadithi hii ilianza mwaka 1991.
Vipi kuhusu ngano kwa shamba langu kikauka? Haina haja. Tutakupa kwa njia pia tukapuje.
Mkoa unaojiendesha wa Ningxia ulitekeleza sera ya makazi mapya ya kuhamisha watu wa maeneo yenye umaskini ya Xiaigu ili waweze kujikimu.
Ninatumaini sana kwamba siku moja jangwa hapa litakuwa kijani kibichi na mji wetu wa Mining utakuwa na miundombinu kamili.
So mimi nilikuwa mmoja wa timu kubwa ya Hasana na ngojea mazao yake.
Na bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, ni awamu nyingine tena ya bunge la mwenyeji ambapo tunasikia tu maoni ya wenyeji hasa wananchi wa kawaida. Je, maoni ni yapi?
Anakuambia wananchi ndio kila kitu. Unaona dips na system ni wananchi. Unaona vile wamenyorosha watu bwana.
Tumeng'oa nanga kwenye bunge la mwenyeji.
So ile kitu nasema tunamuomba asituachilie.
And welcome back to the morning brief. Nancy Nelima here. Time now to catch you up stories that are making headlines. As we declared all government operations will go digital in the next 6 months. During his meeting Jamhuri celebration as head of state, Ruto said his government intends to leverage on opportunity presented by digital spectrum to advance innovation, development and job creation, as our reporter Henry Tende expounds.
In respect to this year's Jamhuri Day celebration theme, Innovation in the Digital Space, President William Ruto had a special message for Kenyans and invited high-profile guests.
Today we celebrate this Jamhuri in a special way that we have intentionally profiled this Jamhuri to be the Jamhuri of technology and innovation. We have done so deliberately and intentionally because of the huge potential that exists in our technology and innovation space.
The head of state has announced all government functions will be digitized in the next 6 months to ease access to his administration's operations.
We intend to transfer 85% of the remaining government services to the digital space so that every Kenyan, wherever they are, they do not have to get into any bus to go to get government services or queue in any line to access government services. It will now be possible in 6 months, when we finish the digitization of 5,000 government services, it will be possible for Kenyans to access government services from their comfort of their homes and the workplace using the internet, because government services will be available on that platform.
To facilitate this, the Kenya Kwanza government will be investing in high-end internet speed that will see various households connected.
We have decided that we are going to have a 100,000 kilometer super highway that is going to be built to enable internet access our homes, our cities, our towns, and every part of the Republic of Kenya, because that is how we are going to be delivering government services going into the future.
One of President William Ruto's key promises is to revolutionize agriculture and position Kenya as a food-sufficient nation. President Ruto says the fertilizer subsidy program will be among the functions to be digitized.
We intend to deliver our subsidy program on fertilizer, on e-voucher, that is going to be available to 1.3 million farmers. And I want to encourage our farming community to register themselves, because going forward, our fertilizer subsidy program is going to be dispensed on the internet, on e-voucher, so that we can eliminate brokers and eliminate cartels and ensure that targeted farmers have access to fertilizer.
Speaking before high-profile experts in the digital space, President Ruto has projected the adoption of digital spectrum in the country will create more than 1 million jobs in the near future.
We have a target of 1 million jobs from our technology space. We've had a candid conversation with our technology and digital space leaders that Kenya, going into the future, we're going to have 1 million jobs, and that is why it is necessary and it is important that all of us understand the importance of technology and the place of innovation going into the future.
Revisiting his promise to clean the police department, the head of state notes there have been notable changes in the way the security apparatus conduct themselves.
We have engaged successfully to reorient policing operations from a heavy and illegitimate reliance on illegal and extrajudicial interventions, which frequently entailed such intolerable violations as abductions, torture, disappearance, and murder. There is now consensus that a new policing paradigm is at hand, and it is possible to achieve a high level of security for our citizens and also observe their rights and freedoms to the greatest extent. I commend the entire National Police Service, from the constable on the beat to the Inspector General, for the enthusiasm with which they have embraced the changes and enhanced our general security through increased vigilance and improved relationship with citizens.
The Commander-in-Chief has revealed his government will be importing additional food products to cover for the deficit occasioned by reduced rainfall. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
And still on Jamhuri, President William Ruto has defended Hustler Fund against his critics. In his speech at Nyayo Stadium during the Jamhuri Day celebrations, President Ruto thwarted the Azimio leader Raila Odinga, accusing him of derailing Kenyans from paying the Fuliza loan. Ruto termed the opposition's move as an inhuman act, as Shadrack Karewe now reports.
Tuliambiwa Hustler Fund itakuwa ya bure, imekuwa haijakuwa. Na hiyo Hustler Fund msirudishe tafadhali.
While responding to his critics from the opposition, President William Ruto during the Jamhuri Day celebrations fired a salvo at the opposition leader Raila Odinga for what he termed as being pessimistic about the Hustler Fund initiative.
Let me say for the record and ask fellow leaders, my good friends, you are borrowing your mortgage at 3%. You have the capacity to borrow from your bank at 14%. Why do you want to derail the hustlers who today are suffering from shylocks and from predatory lenders, and they are being charged 360%? And you're telling them not to pay money given to them at 8% so that they can go back and pay at 360%.
The president vehemently defended the Hustler loan, stating that due to its low interest, it has enabled Kenyans to save and boost their businesses, terming the opposition move as an inhuman act.
And it is clear that two things have come around because of what you have seen on the Hustler Fund. Number one, it has provided a platform for millions of Kenyans who have been looking for an opportunity to save. And number two, the Kenyans borrowing on this platform, they have not been derailed by the rhetoric of those who are against the Hustler Fund.
According to President William Ruto, 12 days since the Hustler Fund was launched, 7.5 billion shillings have been disbanded, adding that 1.1 billion shillings have been repaid, meaning that 70% of Kenyans have not repaid their loan.
And let me also say that the Hustler Fund has accumulated savings of close to 400 million shillings in just 12 days.
President William Ruto at the 59th Jamhuri celebration gave hope to the beneficiaries of the Kazi Mtaani initiative, stating that his government will from January next year employ 11,000 youth who will help in tree planting in Nairobi County.
To ensure that we reach the 15 billion trees planted across the country. And I want to thank the governor of Nairobi. We are going to be working with the county government of Nairobi in the greening of our city. And we have agreed with the governor that beginning January, we are going to hire 11,000 young people to create the army that will green our city, those that were working under the old program of Kazi Mtaani.
The head of state encouraged other governors to join him in tree planting campaign. Shadrack Karewe, Lookuptv.
Now let's talk color at the Jamhuri Fete. This year's Jamhuri Day celebrations was nothing less of pomp and color. Let's now take a look at how the day was.
The scenery at the Nyayo Stadium Jamboree, Kenyans from all walks of life today mark the 59th Jamhuri Day celebrations with pomp and color. President William Samoei Ruto made a debut of his first Jamhuri Day at the Nyayo Stadium, a forum that saw the trooping of colors by the Battalion Kenya Rifle, who paraded their flags at the colorful ceremony attended by several dignitaries. The main stage arena was decorated with the Kenya national flag colors. The chairs used by the public audience also represented the Kenyan flags. The president presented presidential colors and honors to Kenya Army's battalion troops. After inspecting the guard of honor, the process was thereafter followed by the consecration and trooping of the colors by the defense forces.
3rd Mechanized Infantry Battalion, we ask you to bid God's blessings on these colors. We are ready to do so.
The colors symbolizing the spirit of regiment, for they bear the battle honor and badges granted to commemorate their gallant deeds.
signs and emblems for allegiance to their rulers and of their duty to uphold these laws and institutions.
Entertainment did not miss out in the order of the day, with those attending the function privileged to be entertained by Kenyan Air Force flypast.
Anainua ndege hiyo kwa umaridadi, kisha anatupa mizunguko ya kushoto. Mheshimiwa Rais, inafuata sasa ndege aina ya Puma.
Choirs, traditional and modern performances that were mainly Christian and patriotic themed.
Juguna the other side. Juguna anakata katikati ya kiwanja. Jugush, Crazy Kena, Content Cartel, Ngaruya, sasa wewe Ngaruya jameni. Red Cross tafadhali. Wapi makofi nduru yao tafadhali.
A thematic celebration focused on Kenya's growth in the information, communication and technology sector. Cecilia Lubanga, Lookuptv.
Indeed, it was a very colorful Jamhuri Day. Moving on our weekly segment of Opinion Matters, our reporter Moses Gage interacted with Kenyans on what stood out on the 59th Jamhuri Day celebrations at Nyayo Stadium. Here's what they had to say.
For a long time now, Your Opinion Matters has gone down to Kenyans.
Nimeona colorful trooping ya 23rd Battalion na nimefurahia sana. Nimefurahia tena kwa Hustler Fund. Inaendelea kutuinua kama sisi wa Kenya. Asante sana President wetu Bwana Ruto.
Tumefurahia sana juu because President amefanya around 60% hajamaliza. So kitu yenye tunangojea ni ile unga alikuwa amesema atashukisha mafuta, cost of living.
Amesema kwamba watasaidiana na county government ya Nairobi kuona kwamba kazi ya vijana kwa mtaani watasaidiwa. Hiyo naomba waweze kurudisha, ni kwa sababu ilikuwa inasaidia vijana sana.
Tushirikiane ili tuendeleze nchi yetu. Hasa upande wa elimu.
Hapa pa Hustler Fund pako poa, lakini limit yenye mtu anapatiwa unashindwa wenyewe hata kikopa hiyo do utarudisha aje. Juu for example mimi napewa so sita. Hiyo so sita nashindwa aje nikikopa hiyo so sita ndaanza nao biz gani na vitu zote ni expensive.
Na tunasema rais wetu ametufanyia kazi mzuri kutuletea hiyo Hustler Fund, lakini Kenya angeona aongeze hata hiyo pesa, hiyo 500 haitoshi.
Pesa yangu napata in one month. Nitalipaje hii pesa kabla within 2 weeks?
Pia nimefurahia mambo ya sports kwa sababu amesema vijana wataanza kucheza mpira, wafunzwe, wataanza kujiandaa kucheza, na naona ya kwamba tukiendelea hivyo na hiyo Vision 2030 ameongea kuhusu, tutakuwa na vijana wa World Cup hivi karibuni.
Kitu moja amefanya kitu ya muhimu sana, Hustler Fund. Tunaweza ichukulia kama mchezo, but hiyo Hustler Fund is going to help us and it's going to take us far if we take it positively.
Enyewe unajua watu wengi tushazoea kununua unga 200 na siku nyingi zimepita, kila mtu ashazoea kununua unga 200. Sasa akishukisha watu waone sahihi issue ya kuinunua.
Enyewe orezo jo angalio kitu. Si tunajaina tu hapa, si tunatoka ghetto, tunatoka Ruben, tunakujadi kumsherekea.
Mimi nabambika juu amerudisha kazi kwa vijana. Hiyo kofiti na kazi zikiongezeka, at least nini zitapunguka, crimes venye unaona Nairobi zimejaa zitapunguka.
Kitu create opportunities, crimes zitapungua na pia tutakuwa poa.
But at the same time, wacha tumpatie time kwa sababu I know there are so many things that he's working on, there are so many things that he's planning to get with his government. Tumpatie time.
Na sisi tunashukuru sana, Mwenyezi Mungu amzidishie, atusaidie.
And those are some of the opinions that Kenyans had to offer on the 59th Jamhuri Day as they anticipate for a good time in the leadership of William Samoei Ruto. Moses Okech, Lookuptv.
And as Kenya marked 59 years of independence, citizens in different counties celebrated the day in style as Bungoma County Governor Ken Lusaka, in company of other leaders, including Deputy Governor Jennifer Mbatiani, Kimilili MP Didmus Baraza and Majimbo Kalasinga of Kimilili, led the county residents in marking the day in Amutala grounds in Kimilili sub-county.
Leading this year's Jamhuri Day celebrations in Bungoma County,
Governor Ken Lusaka has called on the county residents to continue upholding peace despite existing political differences in the two folds.
Kwa hivyo nataka niwaomba tukienda katika Christmas tukule kwa utaratibu, na sisi tumeanza kazi. Next month wafanye kazi hiyo, mambo tuliwaahidi yote sasa wakati ya promises imeisha. Tunaanza sasa kutekeleza ile ambayo tumefanya. Tutashirikiana na wabunge na members of county assembly ambao wako hapa kuhakikisha kwamba kaunti yetu tunaipeleka mbele. Na mimi mnanijua, mimi si mgeni, mimi ni mchapakazi.
The leaders have voted to push forward proposals to ensure that they can sustain and develop micro businesses by licensing them.
Pale Nairobi yangu itakuwa kuhakikisha kwamba wanapounda bajeti za kuja katika kaunti za Bungoma, kipengele cha teknolojia na uchumi wa kisasa lazima uwepo kwenye bajeti, ili vyuo vyetu vya anuai na chuo kikuu cha Kibabi University, they must be transformed into ICT hubs.
Tunaomba hawa askari wetu hawa wakuwe na heshima. Kama mama hajauza, wakae hapo, auze apate pesa, alafu alipe ile ya tikiti. Lakini wanafika hapo asubuhi hata hajauza, mai wa mengo ni litore wa kekile. Taka kaunti ya Bungoma pamoja na majote kida pamoja na wetu ambayo uko hapa kili supafu, tengeneza sheria, peleka katika mswada wa kaunti yetu, watu tupate fedha kidogo, small money, kutoka kwa watu wetu ambao wanatengeneza busa.
As Kenyans celebrate this day in different parts of the country, it was joyful for sick children at Shoe for Africa Hospital in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County, as they were visited by star athletes from the 2 running club training camp. Led by London Marathon champion Amos Kipruto, New York and Boston Marathon champion Evans Chebet, among other stars like Emmanuel Wanyonyi and Eunice Sam, they gifted the children with Christmas gifts beside gaming and dancing with them.
It's our routine every year, every end of the year. We normally come here to support the kids, to put a smile on the children's hospital and just to support them.
Kuja kuwasalamia watoto hapa Shoe Africa inakuanga furaha yetu sana tunapofunga mwaka hasa running club. Kuja kuwafurahisha watoto, kuwatembelea, tucheke wote, tuwaletee zawadi ndio wafurahie. Hiyo ni furaha yetu sana na tunawaombea Mungu awafariji na awape nguvu.
The management of the hospital, which has been celebrating treatment of more than 1 million children since its launch in 2015, has called on other sportsmen to come out and help sick children during this festive season.
What we're doing here at Shoe for Africa is we have a new burns hospital starting next year. We have a new cancer hospital starting next year. We have the existing Shoe for Africa Children's Hospital. We have all these play centres, we have classrooms, we have playrooms. It's going to be an African children's village here in Eldoret. And the amazing thing for me is here in Eldoret there will be no other place in Africa will be treating more children than here.
And moving on, after FIFA lifted the ban imposed on Kenya early this year, President William Ruto at the Jamhuri celebrations indicated that the government will play a key role in ensuring that Kenya secures a slot at the World Cup in 2030.
After FIFA imposed a ban on Kenya citing government interference in February this year, the future was not promising anymore for local footballers in the country, following the ouster of Nick Mwendwa as the FKF president. Immediately after taking the oath of office, Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba vowed to engage with the world's football governing body FIFA to work on modalities of the ban being lifted, aside from battling the doping menace in the country.
We want right away to get onto this doping crisis. We have such a fine image as a sporting nation, and we cannot allow the greed, the misconduct of a few people to destroy this hard-earned image.
I also want to make it public that since I took office last Friday, I have been in consultation with the widest spectrum of stakeholders in this area. I have also been constantly on the phone with FIFA. Indeed, I have spoken to FIFA 5 times already. And I'll be on the phone with FIFA again immediately after this press conference. My conversation with FIFA has been about finding a consensual resolution to the impasse that has hindered the return of Kenyan football to normal.
In his speech during the Jamhuri celebrations today, President William Ruto indicated that the government will prioritize the growth of football through grassroots league tournaments countrywide in a bid to ensure Kenya participates in the World Cup.
Through the revolutionary Talanta Hela plan, we will rebuild and monetize our sports and creative industry. As part of this plan, I will champion a grassroots football development program that will see national government work with county governments to invest heavily in youth football. Arrangements are at an first stage to launch a bottom-up football tournament to be contested by under-19 teams from all 47 counties.
The head of state also assured sportsmen and women in the country that his administration will battle the doping menace in the country, which is now tainting the country's image at the world's biggest stage.
On sports, my administration recognizes sports and the arts as a major industry that can employ millions of our youth and help grow our economy. This is why we have moved with speed to get our football back, to protect Kenya's proud athletes' pedigree from doping, and to streamline collection and distribution of royalties from our artists.
Ruto also indicated that Kenya will bid to host the African Cup of Nations in 2027.
In our Football Vision 2030, where we will target our Harambee Stars to play at the 2030 World Cup and Kenya to host the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. Together, let us build Kenyan football from the grassroots of our villages to the grand stage of the World Cup.
Ian Kitani, Lookuptv.
And that story by Ian Kitani sums it up here for all the news that is making headlines, and of course largely about the Jamhuri celebrations that were marked yesterday, the 12th of December. There were the 59th Jamhuri Day celebrations. A lot of conversation just coming from the same as well. And right here on Lookuptv, we are keeping tabs with what you are talking about, and we'll be sure to give you coverage of those stories in our bulletins at 1 p.m. Kutoka Mashinani, 4 p.m. Trending News, at 6:30 Lookup Tarifa, and 8 p.m. Lookup News. Some of the stories that we are looking at today in our newsroom is Nairobi Festival. Now, this began yesterday, Monday, on 12th of December, and it's running all through the week to the 17th. And the festival happening at Uhuru Park in Nairobi, in the Central Business District. That as well, that is a story that we are keeping an eye on. And of course, the festival right there being led by the governor, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja. And we'll be on the outlook as well, a lot of business stories coming your way, as well as some sporting action. But for now, we say goodbye, and coming right up will be all our conversations on personal development. Good morning, and keep it Lookuptv.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the lead